This show is part of One Place, a daily network of focused briefings across the stories people follow most.
Today on the Roundup, the Los Angeles Rams pull off a stunner by acquiring All-Pro corner Trent McDuffie from the Chiefs. Broadcasting icon Dick Vitale finally gets his chance to call a March Madness game, alongside Charles Barkley. Geopolitical tensions and funding gaps cast a shadow over the 2026 World Cup. With only 100 days to go, we spotlight the 5 women's college basketball teams with the best shot at a national title. The Carolina Hurricanes are reportedly eyeing a massive trade for Elias Pettersson before the deadline. We look at 8 high-profile NFL stars who could be changing jerseys this offseason. The Florida Gators are on a quest to do something nearly impossible: repeat as national champions. The Chiefs are pivoting their search for a new running back toward the middle of the free agent market. Trade rumors heat up around Max Crosby and A.J. Brown as the NFL league year approaches. And we dive into the emotional fallout of the McDuffie trade, including Patrick Mahomes' reaction to losing a key teammate.
Let's dive right into the biggest move of the NFL offseason so far.
It is an absolute blockbuster. The Los Angeles Rams have officially addressed their biggest weakness by trading for Kansas City Chiefs All-Pro cornerback Trent McDuffie. In exchange, the Chiefs are receiving a package that includes the 29th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, along with 5th and 6th rounders that year, and a 3rd-round pick in 2027. If you're a Rams fan, you have to be thrilled. McDuffie is widely considered a top 10 corner even in a down year for the Chiefs' defense. For Los Angeles, this is about keeping that Super Bowl window wide open. They were already in the mix, but adding an elite young talent like McDuffie, who is only 25, cements them as a defensive powerhouse. It also gives them incredible flexibility for the upcoming draft. Instead of being forced to take a corner at number 12, they can now look at pass rushers or even a potential successor to Matthew Stafford at quarterback. We're giving the Rams an A+ for this one. They saw a need and they swung for the fences.
On the flip side, it's a tough pill for Kansas City to swallow. McDuffie was arguably their most important defender after Chris Jones. But with the salary cap tightening, the Chiefs felt they couldn't project a future where they could pay him what he's worth while keeping the rest of the roster intact. Getting a late first-round pick feels a bit light for a player of his caliber, which is why we're seeing a grade of C for the Chiefs on this deal. They've definitely gotten worse in the short term, and unless they have a master plan to flip those picks for immediate help, it feels like a step backward for the defending champs.
Now, let's move from the gridiron to the hardwood, where a legendary voice is finally getting his due.
It's hard to believe, but Dick Vitale, the 86-year-old voice of college basketball, has never actually called a March Madness game. That is finally changing. Thanks to a new partnership between ESPN and Turner Sports, Dickie V will be on the call for a first 4 game in the 2026 men's NCAA tournament. And he won't be alone. He'll be joined by the one and only Charles Barkley. This is a huge win for fans. For years, the rights were split in a way that kept Vitale off the tournament broadcasts because he's an ESPN employee and Turner owns the tournament rights. But after Turner lost the NBA rights and ESPN helped save Inside the NBA, the two networks have found common ground. Vitale has fought through so much lately: melanoma, lymphoma, and even vocal cord cancer. Seeing him finally get to bring that trademark energy to the big dance is just poetic. He and Barkley already called a regular season game together back in December, and the chemistry was electric. This is the kind of moment sports broadcasting exists for.
It really is a dream pairing. Switching gears to international sports, the outlook is a bit more complicated for the upcoming World Cup.
We are exactly 100 days away from the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and instead of a celebration, the organizers are dealing with some massive headaches. This is going to be the biggest tournament ever, with 48 teams playing 104 matches across the US, Canada, and Mexico, but the geopolitical climate is incredibly tense. The biggest question right now is whether Iran will withdraw. Following recent military actions involving the US and Israel, the Iranian Football Federation has expressed serious doubt about participating. If they pull out, it would be the first time a qualified team has done so since 1950. FIFA says they are monitoring the situation, but the uncertainty is palpable. And that's not all. In Mexico, there are major safety concerns following the killing of a cartel boss, which sparked a wave of violence in areas like Jalisco, where games are scheduled to be played. President Claudia Sheinbaum is insisting everything will be safe, but fans are understandably nervous.
And the issues aren't just international. Right here in the U.S., there's a funding crisis. 11 host cities are still waiting on over $600 million in federal security funding. FEMA is apparently caught in a partial shutdown, and local organizers are warning that without that money, their planning could be catastrophic. Add in the fact that ticket prices are hitting record highs. Some final tickets are going for nearly $9,000. And you have a tournament that feels increasingly out of reach for the average fan. There's also the impact of travel restrictions on fans from countries like Senegal and Haiti. It's a massive undertaking, and right now, the logistical and political hurdles are stacking up fast.
Let's bring it back to college sports and look at the contenders in the women's bracket.
Selection Sunday is just around the corner on March 15th, and the women's field is looking incredibly top-heavy this year. We've identified 5 teams that really have a legitimate shot at the title. First, you have to talk about UConn. They just finished a perfect 31-0 regular season, extending their winning streak to 47 games. Sarah Strong and Azzi Fudd are playing out of their minds. Then there's UCLA. They just won their first outright Big Ten title, and they are deep. They don't just rely on one star. They have 6 or 7 players who can lead the team on any given night, which is exactly what you need for a deep run. South Carolina is also right there in the mix. Even after losing 2 key players to ACL injuries, Dawn Staley has them back at the number 1 seed in the SEC. They are looking for redemption after losing to UConn in the title game last year.
Don't forget about the 2 dark horses in the SEC, Texas and Vanderbilt. Texas finished the season on a 5-game tear after Coach Vic Schaefer called them soft. It seems they took that personally. And Vanderbilt is having its best season in 20 years behind Michaela Blake's, who is the nation's leading scorer at over 27 points per game. The battle between Texas and Vanderbilt for that final 1 seed in the NCAA tournament is going to be one of the best storylines to watch during the conference tournaments this week. Any one of these 5 could be standing on the podium in Phoenix come April.
While we wait for the madness to begin, the NHL is facing its own deadline drama.
The NHL trade deadline is this Friday, and the Carolina Hurricanes are positioned to make a major splash. Corey Lavalette from The Athletic is predicting that the Canes will pull off a deal for Elias Pettersson from the Vancouver Canucks. Now, this would be a massive move. Pettersson is a star center, but he's been struggling a bit in Vancouver, and he carries a heavy $11.6 million annual price tag through 2032. The Hurricanes love what they call distressed assets, players with high upside who might need a change of scenery. Vancouver is sitting near the bottom of the standings, so they might be willing to provide some cap relief to make a deal work. If Carolina can get him without giving up too much of their future, Pettersson could be the piece that pushes them over the edge in the playoffs. It's a high-stakes gamble, but the Hurricanes are clearly in win-now mode.
Speaking of being on the move, let's look at the NFL stars who might have new homes soon.
With free agency starting on March 11th, we are seeing a flurry of trade activity as teams try to clear cap space. There are 8 names we're watching closely. Max Crosby is at the top of that list. He's been the soul of the Raiders for 7 years, but he's tired of the constant losing and coaching changes. Even though the Raiders have plenty of cap space, trading him might be a good faith move to let him compete elsewhere. Then you have the quarterbacks, specifically Anthony Richardson in Indy. The Colts seem ready to move on and roll with Daniel Jones for now, which makes Richardson a very intriguing fixer-upper for a team like the Jets or Rams. He's only 23 and has massive physical tools.
The receiver market is also wild. Brian Thomas Jr. in Jacksonville is a surprise candidate just 2 years after being drafted, mostly because the Jags want to recoup draft capital. And then there's Jordan Addison in Minnesota. He's a talented player, but he's been a massive headache off the field with multiple arrests. The Vikings are in cap hell and might just want to be rid of the distraction. We're also keeping an eye on Michael Pittman Jr., DJ Moore, Tremaine Edmonds, and Jonathan Greenard. All of these guys are talented, but their cap hits make them expendable for teams looking to rebuild or reset their books. It's going to be a very busy week for general managers.
Back to college hoops, where one team is trying to do something we haven't seen in 2 decades.
The Florida Gators are currently the hottest team in the country. They've won 10 straight, locked up the SEC regular season title, and just dropped 108 points on Mississippi State. But what's really fascinating is the history they're chasing. Since the NCAA tournament expanded to 64 teams in 1985, only one program has ever repeated as national champion: Florida, back in 2006 and 2007. This year's squad looks like they could actually do it again. They have an explosive offense averaging nearly 88 points a game, and a balanced roster with guys like Alex Condon and Ruben Chinyello, who just tied the school record for double-doubles. The tournament is so brutal. One bad shooting night and you're out, but the Gators are playing with a level of dominance that makes a repeat look possible. If they pull it off, it will be one of the greatest achievements in modern college basketball history.
It's a tall order, but they have the blueprint. Now, let's check back in with the Chiefs and their plans to replace some of that lost talent.
With Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt both heading to free agency, the Chiefs have a glaring hole at running back. But don't expect them to go after the big names like Kenneth Walker or Travis Etienne. Reports suggest GM Brett Veach is looking at the middle tier, players in that $8 million a year range. Tyler Allgeier from the Falcons is a name that keeps coming up. He's been stuck behind Bijan Robinson, but he's a proven 1,000-yard rusher. Another fit would be Kenneth Gainwell from the Steelers. He was their team MVP last year, and his ability to catch passes out of the backfield would be perfect for Andy Reid's system. Rico Dowdle from the Panthers is also on the radar. The goal for KC is to find a reliable, cost-effective option, so they can focus their resources on rebuilding that secondary after the McDuffie trade.
The rumor mill isn't just about running backs, though. There's plenty of talk about the defensive side of the ball, too.
Exactly. The Raiders are reportedly holding firm on their asking price for Max Crosby. They want 2 first-round picks and a player similar to what the Cowboys got for Micah Parsons. It's a steep price, but teams like the Patriots and Lions are listening. Meanwhile, A.J. Brown's name is still swirling in trade rumors in Philadelphia. The Eagles would have to eat a $20 million cap hit if they trade him before June 1st, so a deal might not happen until the summer. But the interest is definitely there. We're also seeing a very deep class of free agent pass rushers. Trey Hendrickson is the prize of that group after the Bengals decided not to tag him. There's a lot of buzz that he could end up in Dallas to help fill the void left by Micah Parsons. It's a domino effect. One big move like the McDuffie trade starts a chain reaction across the league.
Let's wrap things up by looking closer at the human element of that McDuffie deal.
You can't ignore the reaction from the Chiefs' locker room. Patrick Mahomes posted a simple, one-word reaction on social media. Damn. That tells you everything you need to know about how much McDuffie was valued by his teammates. He helped them win 2 Super Bowls in his first 2 seasons, and was a cornerstone of that defense. But this is the reality for a team that has been so successful. You eventually run out of money to keep everyone. For the Rams, this move is a classic Les Snead play. They've traded away their first-round pick in 6 of the last 9 years to get proven stars like Matthew Stafford and Jalen Ramsey. It's a philosophy that says, the future is now. The Rams ranked 19th in pass defense last year, and it cost them in the NFC Championship against the Seahawks. By landing McDuffie, they aren't waiting for a rookie to develop. They want to win another ring right now.
It's a bold strategy that has worked for them before. That's all for today's roundup. We'll be back tomorrow with more updates as the NFL tampering period begins, and the road to the Final Four heats up. Thanks for listening.
Make sure to follow us so you never miss a daily briefing. We'll see you next time.